Hey folks, totally not named Dan here, and welcome to my new stream room. As you can see, the setup's still a little bit of a work in progress. I could get the lighting a little bit better in here, maybe try and find a way to get the mic out of shot, but it works, it's nice. I have my own streaming space. But that's not what we're here for today, is it? Today we're here to talk about the contents of my egg, once again, along with my buddy, Shotakumon.
Hello everyone, it's me again.
Yep, so who you're talking about today is this guy, who I recently took to locals. So let's go over there, have a look at the deck list, and see what we make of him.
Alright.
So here we have Godzilla, a character that I was specifically asked to make for my local players because I wanted to play Godzilla, but they wanted a character who looked a bit more like my hero. It's the exact same character, but with old frames and one letter different in his name.
Yeah, which technically by rules makes him a different character, right?
Technically, but the same goes for Bull Might, and Bull Might is perfectly fine.
True, true. That would mean you can play 4 Godzilla Minus One cards in that deck, because given that you only play Godzilla.
Yeah, except Godzilla Minus One cannot be put in your deck. Because if
Oh,
you look at the real Godzilla Minus One over here, you'll see there is no difficulty or control check value.
right. Does it just not have one, or is that just the card that doesn't show it, but it kind
It
of
just
like
doesn't
officially
have
has
one.
one? Doesn't have one. That's weird.
Yeah, they wanted more art or something, which I think is kind of silly.
Hmm.
Especially as with the new Challenger decks, they've been sticking it behind the art anyway. I mean, you can barely even see the 29 health on Spike.
Right, yeah. You can see half of it too, which makes it 19, as you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, it's kind of stupid. Getting on with this, though, this is my Godzilla deck. And it's fairly straightforward. It's not the Godzilla deck that most people seem to have built for him, because a lot of people seem to have gone with the Hood support and the support from Fat Gum. Stuff like Calorie Counter, which becomes a 3 diff if you've been blocked, and just more power, which reduces the difficulty of 5 diff or above attacks.
Mm-hmm.
We're not screwing around with that. Instead, I wanted to build Back Alley Haymaker the deck, basically. Just a whole bunch of 5 diffs that weren't really 5 diffs, things that cheated in new foundations to play, and things that got reduced difficulty if you had enough foundations. Ultimately, the Deku support that got minus difficulty if your opponent having enough foundations didn't make the cut. It wasn't very good. And the Back Alley Haymaker got banned before I could get the cards for this deck. So all of that left. But in the process, I did end up with something of a punch deck based around repeated 100% smash here, which is just absolutely stupid as a card.
Yep.
And you'll see with Rejuvenating next to it, because Rejuvenating has to go into any punch build these days, and possibly even non-punch builds.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're on symbol, even if you don't want to play as an attack, it's a great second block.
Yeah, exactly. Although in this deck, you probably want to do both. And yeah, you can see between the two of those, this is absolutely a money deck. No expense was spared here. Although this was built after Nationals, so these repeateds did not cost me 100 quid a piece.
It's nice.
So yeah, this is a punch deck. The idea is Rejuvenating Smash is your second attack. Repeated is probably your third, so that it can ready 3 things and keep your turn
Mm-hmm.
going. We got Vital Impact, gets plus speed if it's your first one, so it's quite nice as starting one, but oftentimes it's not what you're going to lead with. Oftentimes, instead, you want to lead with either using your window shopping or just playing energy suction so that you can gain health on that turn. Because this is the thing, you might be a 36 health 6-hander, but might be a 36 health 6-hander when you can gain even more over the course of a game, make it really difficult for your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And the 36 health means you got plenty of time to gain more.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, the health was pretty rough to get through. I still think the flip one foundation is the roughest bit.
It does punish rather more than you'd think, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you just put out big damage attacks. I want to block them all.
Yeah.
Uh,
But then you
it
get
just means
punished for
I
blocking
can't.
them all.
Yeah,
I
exactly. It
mean,
just means I can't really progress my gameplay.
this is also the thing. Godzilla Minus One is a really interesting character because you cannot play attacks with printed difficulty 4 or less. Everything has to be 5 or above. But he
Hmm.
also has all your attacks get plus damage and punish your opponent if blocked. So he really wants to be throwing out long strings of high difficulty attacks,
Right. Right.
which is very counterintuitive. And that's why I wanted to go for this everything's not really a 5 diff, but it pretends to be deck. It didn't quite work out, but was still, well, close enough.
Yeah. It's one of those decks which it feels somewhat easy to play against it, but you cannot make a single mistake. The moment you make a mistake, you're screwed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. And I mean, the deck itself is very simple to play. It is just fundamentals,
mm,
but it's high intensity fundamentals. There's a lot going on,
right, right.
even if it is just sort of basic stuff. And we got Forceful Blow. Forceful Blow, if blocked, picks you up a 1 diff or below. There are a bunch of cool things here. I mean, if you need another block, you got Tight Lipped or Keeping Eri safe. But most of the time, you're going to be picking up either Practical Studies, which is just +1 speed if your opponent's blocked everything so far this turn, basically, if they haven't lost health, and in Deadlock starts stealing their stuff. Or you're going to pick up Energy Suction, just because you want to be gaining more health. Both work nicely.
Yeah, I think the training card is the one that is really frustrating because it means not only do I get punished for blocking your attack, it also means it wasn't really relevant because you're just going to hit an equally fast attack with the same damage over and over again. It's just annoying. It means like the best plan is to just let that first attack through so you don't get that speed, I guess. But that is whatever damage the attack already has +2, which in this
Yeah.
case is going to be what, 7 at minimum, I think.
Well, that
Yeah,
and we
7 at
got the
minimum.
Tight Lipped, we got Nejire-chan and the big 3, both
Yeah,
of which give plus damage.
yeah.
And yeah, there are other ways to gain plus damage beyond what the character gives. So Forceful Blow
Right.
can easily be hitting for 9 plus.
Yeah.
And
So
then
if
on
things go
top of
well.
that, it, like most other attacks in this deck, has Powerful.
Right, right.
And that is
Yeah,
one of the other things with this deck is Powerful and even EX are on most of the attacks. So you have the ability to, anytime you've gained momentum, anytime your opponents let stuff through, you just snowball.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It feels like you will every turn hit an attack. You have enough to play a lot of turns. The opponent is slowed down by the fact that their foundations are flipped. And yeah, as you said, the moment you have enough momentum, and you probably want to build into deadlock in this character, if the opponent doesn't really have much deadlock enhances, you can just like pump out 3, 4, 5 attacks. And the last one is obviously going to be repeated, so it doesn't even really count as one.
Yeah, I don't really like building into Deadlock, but you absolutely can if your opponent can't punish it.
Hmm. Yeah.
And in terms of Deadlock punish ourselves, yeah, we got Practical Studies just a little bit, but we also got Vindicating Smash. Vindicating Smash is interesting because it's not a good card, but we run it specifically for that Deadlock enhance, which is your rival discards 1 card. Doesn't sound
Hmm.
like much, but the thing is, we play a character who flips foundations, the opponent's foundations, and when the opponent's flipping all their foundations, the easiest way to deal with that is just have more foundations. So a lot of times they will build a lot of foundations in a turn. If they build into Deadlock, that then means they're not going to have many cards left in hand. Means this discard suddenly becomes 1 less block, maybe even no blocks for the turn.
Right, right.
So Vindicating Smash is, in the right situation, actually really punishing. And the rest of the time, it's a base 9 damage in this character, which, it's not the best thing ever, but it's definitely not the worst.
Yep. Baseline and then speed for every no
Yeah,
practical
every
study.
Practical Studies, yeah. And it starts at a 4, so it's always
Yeah.
going to be at least 5.
Hmm.
It's just a little bit rough to deal with, and also some nice shiny art.
Yeah.
And the final attack is this reverse throw. There were more in an earlier build, but as I adjusted the deck, it kind of dropped down. Normally I don't play one-offs. I didn't realize I was playing a one-off. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay.
But I was running this one copy of Reverse Throw. It does two things here. One, it guarantees damage. And two, if you can uptick it with Edge Chan and the big three and or tight-lipped, you can then get +2 damage on top of your character's +2 and mean that even half is 5, so you always draw that card. But in going through, it gives you the momentum. It lets you use the EX on Rejuvenating Smash or Repeated 100% Smash. It lets you use the Powerful and Repeated 100, Vital Impact, or Forceful Blow. And so, yeah, it just enables all of those big things. I mean, that's the thing with Powerful. You don't use Powerful most of the time. You use Powerful when your opponent has no hand and you just randomly have played a powerful attack. Because
Right,
all of
right.
your, well, half of your attacks randomly have powerful.
I noticed that's a very Deku attack thing. Half your attacks just randomly have powerful EX, right?
Yeah.
That's repeated, Haymaker, rejuvenating. They just randomly have that extra keyword in there.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have the back alley, but
True.
I
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
you mean, yeah. And the powerful 4 on Forceful Blow is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. Then we wanted card draw. Actually keep the turn going. Because I found that with Ryukyu Agency Trainees looks good on paper, but it empties your hand far too fast when you play that foundation down. So I needed to make up for that, and there were two ways to do it. One was Excited for Blood, which I only had 2 copies of.
Yeah, that's
I
right
also didn't
amount.
want to run too many 3 diffs, because 2 free diffs on turn 1 is not fun.
Right.
And then we have window shopping. Window shopping is not strictly card draw, it's look at the top of your deck and decide whether you want draw or a good check.
It's destined for mainstream success, the form.
Yeah, basically. Which means, because it's a form, you can play that card as your first form, and then go straight into the Rejuvenating Smash as your second. Or if you don't hit this Rejuvenating Smash in your hand, you use window shopping as your second form. And so you see if you can find a Rejuvenating on top, and if you don't, oh well. Window shopping also triggers the powerful on Vital Impact, which is how we get that. Generally speaking, window shopping won't find a Vital Impact, so you won't get both abilities, but just getting one of the 2 abilities is nice.
Is that how Rejuvenating Smash works? I thought it was if it's the second card you play, not the
Yeah, it
second
is if
form.
it's the second card, but it's if window shopping's your first form, you play a thing off the top of that, and
Oh,
then you
right.
Rejuvenating Smash.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you were saying play window shopping to play Rejuvenating Smash, and that's your second form. But yeah, okay, misunderstood.
No. If you play window shopping as your second form, you can use it to play Rejuvenating as your second card.
Yeah.
If you happen to hit a Rejuvenating.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you want to hit an Energy Suction or another attack.
Right. That makes sense, yeah.
Then we have Without Limits. Without Limits is probably the worst card in this deck. You can easily cut it. It seems nice because it gives your next attack -3 difficulty if it's a Fury or Punch. But, I mean, you have to deal damage to trigger it, which isn't always going to happen. You have to discard Momentum, which you're not always going to have. And just, it's so situational.
Yeah, I think if you cut it down to 2 or 1 is good enough, but you don't like 2 and 1-offs, I guess.
I'm not a fan of 1-ofs. 2-ofs with that, you'll see it over the course of a game. A 2-of that would be fine.
hmm But yeah, it means you have to hit it twice, basically. Once for the momentum, and then once extra for your next attack on the next follow-up
Yeah.
turn. To be fair, you are a deck which goes, which can go into long games. So
Yeah, it
that's
can
kind of nice.
happen. But
Yeah.
it's very situational. It has never come up.
Right.
Then we have Wall Cling. Everyone knows Wall Cling. Wall Cling is just a really nice defensive card. And
Yeah.
it combos especially with Rejuvenating Smash, because that's a mid block you want to play as your second block. And, your opponent might not play a mid. Wall Cling says that mid's a full block anyway.
Yeah. It's great.
It's going to really hurt when Wall Cling rotates out of standard.
True. That's going
Which
to
is
change
why
it
I'm showing
fun.
you this now. Because, I mean, most of this deck does not change. Yeah, okay, you lose your reverse throw. That's
So what?
fine. The deck works without it. And there are other ways to guarantee momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going to lose tight-lipped. There are other good 0 diffs. Some of them might even give damage. No big deal there. So you don't want to be going into things like Floating Around My Babies, because you will mill out if you do. And let's see, was there anything else that was set 1? I don't think there was. I think it was just those 3 cards. And yeah, Wall Cling is going to hurt the most by far.
That one's going to change a lot of the meta because I feel like Wolfling is this very standard way of getting around things like throw.
Yeah. People are going to play things like Faith Shield a lot more,
Right. Yeah.
but Walkling is just such a better card unless you're dealing with combo.
Hmm.
Ryukyu Agency Trainees just lets you throw a thing down, use abilities. So maybe you've got a window shopping in hand that you want on the field. If your opponent
Yeah.
blocks you, you commit this, play that.
That's crazy. Ryukyu was the card that most annoyed me playing against a deck because I knew like when I block, not only do I flip foundation, you don't just get to like build something else, get around breakers, all that stuff.
Yeah, it gets around
Yeah.
Breaker really nicely. It does not help you have more foundations because it commits itself to build one.
Long term, it does, right?
Long
That's
term,
great.
it does. Short term, it really doesn't. So it doesn't
Yeah.
help extend your turn like I was hoping it would.
And then you also have the fact that it is kind of like a stand-in for another foundation if the opponent blocks it. Right? You just
Yeah,
put it there, they block it, cool. What do I need next? Oh, I need a window shopping because I don't have attacks. Play window shopping.
yeah. That's the thing. It's not really build, it's utility.
Yeah. It's a great
Tactical
card.
studies, it's just +1 speed to everything until they stop blocking you. It's just real nice.
Such a good card.
Enter H-Han in the big three. It's plus health if they block you, plus damage if they don't. Yeah, you destroy foundations, but it keeps you out of deadlock because you build enough in this deck anyway. And it combos with Tight-Lipped because Tight-Lipped only flips, so you can use the same foundation for both. Keeping Eri safe, it's just stats. It's not a good card. But
Stun resistance, I guess, is kind of nice.
yeah, it resists stun a bit. It's not bad, but it's not great either. Energy Suction, not even a foundation. It's just a thing you play in the middle of your turn, and then you go, oh, I guess I've got more things in my stage now.
Yeah. And then you flip it and destroy it for +2 damage.
Yeah, but mostly it's there for the healing. This, when Yu Yu Hakusho comes out, will either be replaced or be in addition to Reborn Human. Because Reborn Human is just this, but on both players' turns.
It's also one diff.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
And it's still a 5 check. I think it's a 2 high block rather than a 2 low block, but I think that's the only difference.
All
And
right.
there are enough low blocks in this deck. And then we got Eri. Eri just says if you've got momentum, you don't die one time.
Yeah. That is great.
Yeah, Eri should probably go up to 2 when we take out some without limits.
Mhm.
But just having one there is enough. You only ever need to see one in the course of a game. And you don't need to see it quickly because you're such a big, hefty character who heals so much.
But it's nice to have second one, so if you check it, one of them, you're more guaranteed to find at least the other one.
Yeah, I mean, if you survive the turn where you use Eri, then you
Mhm.
can always heal back up and use another Eri.
Right. Yeah.
So multiple Eris would be nice in this deck, but you don't want to see them too often. You definitely don't want to go to 4.
That makes sense, yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that with a few assets that I really wanted to see. Once I had 3, I drew them too often.
Yeah,
Doesn't sound like it, right? It's just 3 cards in a 60-card deck, but it just happens. It will happen.
it will sometimes. And a lot of assets are unique, so that's not ideal.
Yeah.
For me, the Excited for Blood is still the best card in the deck, foundation-wise.
Okay. You know my answer, right?
What,
I
the
really like
window
the
shopping?
Ryukyu.
Oh no, the
The
Ryukyu
window
one. Huh.
Ryukyu. I really like Ryukyu. It's hard to put in the deck, I feel, to find space.
Yeah.
But if you really, it's just such a nice versatile card, you know?
It doesn't go in many decks, and I wouldn't say it's that great, but it's also,
Mm.
it's as good as whatever card it's building.
Right.
Or at least, it's not quite as good as whatever card it's building, but it's close.
Mhm.
So if the rest of the deck's good enough, yeah. But I mean, imagine that just throwing down an Excited for Blood.
Yeah, that's great.
Suddenly you've got an Excited for Blood. Yeah, that's fantastic. An Excited for Blood, it's healing. It's 4 healing. It's crazy. Or it's you lose 2 health, which is, what, 18th of your health? It's nothing to draw a card. So you can just do that over and over and over. Have an extra card every turn.
Yep. Have
Up
that extra
until the point
rejuvenating
you need your
smash.
health back.
Have that extra rejuvenating smash, which gives you back that 2 health.
Potentially, yeah. Excited for Blood is a crazy card here. I would definitely up that, knowing how well it worked. But, I mean, this is the list I have. And this list did more than well enough.
Yeah.
It won at locals, and that's all it really needed to do to prove that Godzilla is a viable character and a lot of fun to play. And personally, I would say if, for whatever reason, you're a beginner who's willing to throw stupid amounts of money at a deck, this is the deck for you. It is nice and simple, yet also has interesting lines of play to think about. It is a great way to learn the fundamentals of the game, but it does cost a stupid amount of money because it's running 4 of an SR and a highly prized UR and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, rejuvenating smash is more expensive than many SRs.
Yeah. And then repeated is possibly the most expensive SR. I don't think it is now. I think the current set SRs are more expensive,
Yeah,
but
not even most of them, but Falling Skies definitely. I think it's like 60 quid or something.
Falling Skies is seriously overrated, but at the same time, I mean, it's not a bad card at all. It's
Yeah.
just, it's not the only card that does what it does.
Mhm.
However, people are thinking that once Yu Yu comes out and there's rotation in standard, we're not going to play the Spotlight My Hero format anymore. I don't see that being the case entirely, but if it is, then suddenly there's no alternative to Falling Skies, and Falling Skies is going to go up even more.
Oh, right. You're comparing it to Home Run Comet then in that case.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
okay, I see. Yeah.
because they do basically the same thing.
I felt like on paper that was true. In practice, I felt a bit different about that. But I do agree with you that they're very similar. But we'll get that in another video, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, because I do have another deck to go over with
Yeah.
you soon. Anyway, I think that's all for Godzilla. I don't have much more to say about him. He's not super complicated. He's just cool.